Hey everybody, I'm Ed, this is LeEdFollow, and today we're going to work on the 370Z. So if you watched my buyer's guide video, you know one thing I don't like about the Z is the quality of the headlights. So I paid a visit to Torqen and I've got a set of their, not cheap, Torqen headlights for the 370Z. So hopefully that will sort out the issue. So today we're going to take the old ones off, put these on, and hope I'm able to drive at night again. All jobs in modern cars seem to rely on you taking the bumper off. So first thing to do is, got the car in the air, got it on axle stands. You can kind of do it with the car on the ground, moving the wheels and all of that. For the sake of 5 minutes, just put it in the air. Then we will start to take the bumper off. So we've just got a few of these push pins along the top to do, and then in the wheel arch there's a screwy 10mm type of bolt holding on the front. We've got the under tray to take off. There's some wiring behind this bumper, so be careful when you yank it off. You've got a few things to unclip. You've got headlight washer jets to unclip. It's not that simple, but it's not that difficult. So I'm going to take this off. Any sort of points to know, I will stop and tell you, but otherwise it's pretty simple. So time to take the bumper off. So that's the bumper released. I don't think I'll take it off much more than this because of everything that's behind it. It's a bit of a faff. This will give me enough access to what we need to do. So now it is should really disconnect the battery because we're dealing with electronics, and then it is just a case of taking out these headlights. We're also going to need to take this plastic trim off as well. So yeah, we'll do that and I'll get back to you. Okay, so we've got the bumper off now, which is good. Bit fiddly. There's a couple of bolts holding I think it's an airbag sensor type thing, down below here. Plugs a pain. There are, as you can see, these two, the screw sheared off, so get it from underneath. And that is about it. I left the headlight sprayer connectors attached, because if you take those off, it just empties your reservoir. And there's a couple of sort of scoops in there. Same thing, the plugs are a nightmare to undo, so it's just two sort of 10mm bolts. Undo those, unclip them, and just push them out of the way. So that's that done. So now we've just got to undo a load of 10mm holding this on. I mean, it is all pretty self-explanatory, but I'll go through it as I go. So that's the driver's side if you're in the UK, headlight out. It's pretty simple. There are a couple of clips to undo. So that one there is hidden a bit behind the access panel for the main headlight bulb, so don't forget that. And then there's this plug here. There's a catch up there for which holds a bonnet release, so got to release that, and that's about it. If you feel like you're going to save massive amounts of time by not releasing the arch lining, you're kidding yourself. It's a lot easier, you get a lot better access to everything if you do that. So that's, oh, and also on this here, which is just by the triangular plug, there's this clip that you need to take out. It's a bit fiddly, but if you get a 10mm deep socket, push it on that from the other side and it'll unclip it and it'll push out nice and easily. So now we'll get the new light prepped to go in the car. So we need to get a few bits off the old light. This bracket here, so you undo that screw and that screw. You don't need to touch that one because it's attached to the whole thing, so it's just those 2 screws. They can be a bit crusty, fingers crossed to come off. And then this screw, and this screw, which takes off this plastic panel, which we will need to transfer onto the new light. So I'll take these off. Okay, so we're going to put the headlight on something soft. This is the time, well, really, when you get them, you want to check for damage. They're expensive, these lights, but for what they are, they're pretty good value. You've got to expect a little bit of minor sort of scratch or something here and there. You can't expect perfection. If you want perfection, you're going to be paying twice the amount these cost. So check them over pretty much when you get them. Torqen, if you're good with them, they'll be absolutely fine with you, and anything major they'll sort you out, so don't worry about that. So these brackets we took off, we put them back on, that one there and this one up here. There it's got a stub, so you only need 2 of the screws, so obviously use your best screws. We'll put this together and chuck it in the car. And one more thing, on this batch of lights, it seems if you want sequential, you keep sequential indicators, you keep this joined, otherwise it would be just one solid flash instead of the sort of sweepy up and downy. I think if you look at some sort of other videos installing these, you have to disconnect this for sequential, so they must have updated it at some stage. But anyway, we'll put this all on and chuck it back in the car. Now, something these cars have is these headlights is DRLs, so you're going to want to get prep for the cabling for that. So they give you a bit of cable to connect both lights. That's a plug, so you just want to run it from one side to the other. The side with the fuse goes over to on the battery side. UK cars, the cabling's not quite long enough, so you're going to need to extend it, so be prepared for that. And so far that is the only bit that isn't completely plug and play with these lights, and I'll take that all day. Just a quick tip, if you're dealing with whether to take your bumpers off, headlights off, anything with edge of body work, tape it up, because the chances are if you don't, you will scratch it when you put it back on, especially if you're on your own. So a bit of tape, doesn't have to be perfectly on there, but a bit of tape might save you a bit of heartbreak. So that's everything connected back up. That connection there. There's the arch liner. This is the connection for the daytime running lights, and that connection there. So now all I have to do is cable tie this up. You've got these lines for the washer jets. They had a nice place to plug in on the old one, but this one they don't. So I'm just going to loosely cable tie them up somewhere out the way, so it doesn't cause me an issue further down the line. So I'll get all that done, and then we'll work on connecting up the daytime running lights. So I've got the other side in. They look amazing. They're, like I was saying earlier about small imperfections, that corner there, got a tiny chip in it. Doesn't bother me, might bother some people, but something to be wary of. So this is the cable for the daytime running lights. So this is a cable for the daytime running lights. It needs to get into a fuse box here. Some people think that this is a fuse box you need to get into. This is not. Same goes for if you're taking the steering lock fuse. There's nothing in there. It is tucked down there. So yeah, it's down there. So we've got to take all these clips off and remove this, and now get the fuse box out. So we've got access to the fuse box. There's 2 clips, one there and one there. Push those in and yank it up. Now there's a fair bit of flex in this fuse box, so you don't have to be awfully gentle with it, but don't go ridiculous. So the fuse we want is a 10 amp, let's get in there, the 10 amp starter fuse. So that's one we want. So we'll take the cover off and we'll get on that. Yeah, don't forget, make sure battery's disconnected for this part. So once the cover's off, there's a couple of clips on the bottom you press and that will release the cover. This is what you'll be faced with, and it is that 10 amp down, first 10 amp fuse down. That's one we want to swap out for this piggyback fuse. You're going to want the cable long enough so you can go up through the bottom and just keep a bit of waterproofing. So I will now cut the cable, extend it, chuck it in there, then before we whack everything back in, we'll make sure it's working. So that is the piggyback fuse installed. I've heat wrapped it and taped it. I wasn't that happy with the heat wrapping, not that happy with the soldering, but it will be all right. So now we'll just tidy all of this up, tuck the excess cable out the way, put the cover back on, put the fuse box back in there, and then it is test it out. So just powered it on. As you can see, daytime running lights, nice and bright. Excuse the tape, you know why it's there. So now put it all back together. Result.
So as you can see, the dipped beam is a massive improvement, and then high beam again is just a massive improvement. And this is the outside of the car. It's just incredible the difference you get, and the indicators also look awesome. And then you get, hey guys, a different day, different week, but the weather has been awful to do any filming, but here is the car. As you can see, the lights look amazing. I'll put some sort of beauty shots in now, but they are fantastic. They are one of the best mods I've done on the 370 since I bought the car, which is nearly a year ago. I took it out the other night and I could actually see at night. It's pretty incredible. The difference, I've got some clips I put in, is night and day. Sounds a bit cheesy, but it is night and day. They were what, 1,500 quid, and they made the car so much more usable, so much more modern, and with the car being black, them being smoked, it adds a slightly sinister look to the car. So I would not hesitate in recommending buying these. Like I say, don't expect them to be 100%, expect 99, 98% perfection on these lights. They, at the end of the day, they are still made in Taiwan, but they're brilliant. So yeah, buy them if you want them. If you're on the fence, buy them. Install isn't too bad. Once you've got the bumper off, it is pretty much plug and play, apart from that one cable that you will need to extend. And yeah, just buy them. If you're on the fence, just buy them. But anyway, I'm Ed, this has been LeEdFollow. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one, which will probably be the intakes, but I've got issues to sort out as well. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you again.